Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite dark sorcerer here, Angelus, son of Abaddon, and today I'm going to bring you a book review of a theistic Satanism variation. Okay, and I'm also going to show you the other books that I have listed that was published by this author. Okay, Reverend Cain, like the mark of Cain, you know, Cain and Abel, spelled the exact same way. Okay, so these books came out of I came across these books a little while ago. About a year, within the last year or so, and I've really delved into them, studied them, and taken a lot of what was spoken to heart. Now, there's a lot of mentors and a lot of philosophical practitioners out there. Anton Zandaleve, for just an example, in his book, The Satanic Bible, put a philosophical practice in play. Okay? Don't get me wrong, that's psychological in nature. But then you have Alistair Notch, who has been a practitioner for 35 plus years. Okay? His books are magnificent. Okay? A true satanic thought form, contemplative, playing that devilish card, okay, that reverse psychology type thing to get the reader to think about their actions. So there are a lot of individuals out there who have actually written a lot of things on Satanism. Not all of them are good, okay, at least in my opinion. So today I wanted to do a book review tonight on a theistic and spiritual Satanism practice. Okay, and like I said, this was put out by Reverend Cain. Okay, now he is the author of the Unholy Bible, the Book of Kings, and the Book of Hymns. Now he also wrote a book that I don't own, that was said, I've heard good things about it, but I haven't been able to get my hands on it as of yet. And it was called the Abysmal something or other type book. It was like the Abysmal Bible or something like that. I have not yet been able to get my hands on it, namely because it went out of it. They stopped publishing it, so it ended up being discontinued on places like Amazon and eBay. So it's kind of frustrating because I'm hoping that someone will put it up for sale, as a used book, and I'll pick it up and read it. But recently, I was on Amazon and I came across this book, The Infernal Gospel. Okay, and it looks like this. Now, this book here is basically these other three, more or less updated. Okay, he added basically a lot of other things included that were not previously in these other three. Now, personally, I liked the way Reverend Cain wrote these books. Okay, they were, in my opinion, highly thought of, and how to dub it down for a neophyte, an acolyte, which basically is translated into beginner. Okay, even the adept that is into Satanism, that decides to start out their career in a specific type of Satanism, be it traditional Satanism, theistic Satanism, spiritual Satanism, uh, you know, these are all good. I mean, really good. Traditional Satanism will challenge you in ways you never thought possible. Theistic and spiritual Satanism are more defined as spiritual entities, you know. And I find that this author, he doesn't just give you a philosophy. He literally took the time to think step by step of how he wanted this written out. In this case, he dubbed it down and broke it down into various different topics that a lot of acolytes that personally that I've dealt with, okay, who have come to me asking questions. He literally has broken this down, okay, into the various different types of topics. I'm talking states of ritual use, the various different types of ritual tools, to the holidays, the different types of perspectives of worship, down to the classification of the spirits that we contact. And he even took it a step forward too. And he even broke down sorcery in general. I mean, he literally broke down Satanism from a witchcraft perspective, much like I did on my own channel. Okay? Not just my channel, but also Dark Sorcery. And the thing I liked about him and the way he broke this down was he went into it from a biblical perspective when he wrote about these 9 infernal kings. Okay? From step 1 to step 9. Okay? And then he went in and he took it from the witchcraft perspective and broke it down into witchcraft, necromancy, divination, and possession. Okay, but he didn't really go too much into detail into these classifications, not like I did. I literally brought it down into what they are, how they occur, the different stages of them, the different types of rituals, and all this stuff. But Reverend Cain literally went in and he set it aside and gave you the best definition of each one of these classifications. And then when you get into the Book of Hymns, you know, he literally brings it into prayers. He starts it off with the prayers to beings like Marduk, Satan, Lucifer, and stuff like that. But then he goes into other classifications. What is a Book of Hymns? What is the musical aspects of rituals? How do you perform rituals while showing devotion, prayer, dedication and commitment, all of this stuff? And he literally goes into it. And I really like that about this guy, because he clearly wants to share his wisdom and his type of Satanism. Okay? Now, when we look at different types of Satanism, you know, I have my own brand, my own style of Satanism, just like he does. But we come from the same cloth. Okay? And that's something I really liked about it, because when you get down to it, number one, he's teaching you. He's literally speaking from the heart and from the spirit, breaking down what Satanism is from a philosophical perspective, a a type of rituals, what it involves within Satanism, within just about every classification that people have literally come to me about. The only difference is I haven't written a book on Satanism outside of a little pamphlet that described the laws, regulations, and stuff like that. The decrees, if you wish. Okay, I wrote a little pamphlet. I think it was like, I think when you do it in PDF format, it brought it down to like maybe 14 pages, if that. Okay. And it was very cool because it literally showed all of this stuff from the 9 satanic sins to the 9 satanic statements, to the 11, rules of the earth, the 21 satanic points, the 21, how should I say this, the 11 adversarial doctrines by Michael W. Ford, and all this stuff, kind of putting into the perspective of this is what Satanism is. People believe we don't obey rules or regulations, laws even. But yet my little pamphlet did this. Well, guess what? Reverend Cain did the same thing in his own way. Okay? And that's something that I really liked because of the fact that it shows that confirmation. Okay? The confirmation of the spirit. Showing that we may come from different path workings, but the spirits are guiding us to the same creeds. Okay? And that's something that's very, very cool. I've always spoken on Satanism in a spiritual and educational manner. When I first read the independent books, the original ones that came out, okay, this was something that kind of puts a new spin on things. What is a Satanist? Okay, the preparations on becoming the door, okay, going into the renunciation rites and going into the infernal tenets, which is another way of saying creeds, if you wish, laws, regulations. You get into the different types of worship, their variations of names, okay? The altars and summoning the elements, okay? Going all the way into right in the very back, incense, okay? Not just that, but one of the things that I liked is the rite of sulfur, okay? He literally put his own variation of a dedication to Satanism, to Satan himself. Not many authors put out a invocation or even a dedication for that matter. Reverend Cain did. I think back on some of the ones that I've read over the years. One of them was Satan's Bible by Robert Fries. Okay, Pope Robert Fries, who is now a Christian, but he used to be a satanic, how should I say this, a traditional Satanist. Okay, now what's ironic about this is that his variation of it dealt with a bath. Okay, a little, how should I say this, sexual maneuver within the womb of Leviathan. Okay, it was his variation, and if it worked for him, cool. That's his way. And that's the thing I like about Satanism is because of the fact it is about the individual, not the herd conformity. Okay, and then you go into Anton Zander LaVey's the Satanic Bible, and he has the invocation of Satan. Okay, within the book of, is it the book of Belial or the book of Leviathan? I can't remember which book it's actually in. I want to say it's the book of the book of Leviathan, but it may be the book of the later half of the book of Belial. So keep that in mind, okay? And he actually gives off the names of the spirits that he has chosen from various different ancient civilizations. Now, like I said, with all these different ones and their perceptions of it, you're getting this wide range of perspectives of what Satanism is, how to practice it, the tools, the ways of devotion, the ways of dedication and showing that dedication, the different types of spirits that you can call upon. Okay? In this book here, the Gospel, the Infernal Gospel, I thought Reverend Cain did a very, very good job. And I just want to show you something here. Once you get to the actual book, you have the Book of Descent, Traditional Satanism, Expectations, The Door, Renunciation, the Infernal Tenets, Devotion, going into the five appetites, the infernal sins, going into the celebrations, going into the different types of witchcraft, going into the Book of Kings, the origins, the dominion, the nine kings themselves. The Book of Hymns, you have prayers, you have the Disciples' Creed, things like Minos, Verdict, O Mephistopheles, the prayer to him. You have the Serpent's Crutch, the Oracle's Ode, Trident of Enil, Leviathan's Ma, Gehenna's Star, the Disciple in Closing Honors. Okay? And the thing I liked about this as well is he gave a spot right up front on page 19 where you can sign your craft name or your mundane name, okay, stating that this book belongs to you, okay. And if you choose, and I'm going to say this again, if you choose to follow one of these books, especially this one, which I do recommend to you, by the way, especially if you're a beginner into Satanism and really want to follow this, maybe even explore Satanism in general, okay? Don't just stop at this book, okay, or the books that I have listed down below within the description, okay? But get into some of these others like Alistair Notch, okay? Get into things like what's her name? Venus Satanus, okay? Or Satanus Venus. I can't remember it's been a while since I've talked to her and actually followed her videos, but the prayers of Satan, from what I understand from a brother and coven member of mine, her book is very, very good. Okay, highly recommended was the term that he used. Now, again, I haven't had a chance to get this book yet, so that'll be something down the line. Outside of that, I would recommend getting into various different applications of Satanism. Study them all, look at them all. From agnostic to atheism. Now, personally, I don't condone atheistic Satanism. I find it to be more dualistic, and I find it to be a method of canceling out your own self. Everything that you do is canceled out in that way. Okay? But that's just my perspective on that. But when you get into it, look into atheistic Satanism, look into spiritual Satanism, theistic Satanism. Personally, I see those two as one and the same. But from what people believe is they're two different philosophies. Then get into traditional Satanism. Look up Vocalocus Aureax, the book of the book of the Divine Black Flame of Satan. Get into Tentatio Diabolis by Myrmidon Pontifex Maximus. Go into the ONA, the Order of the Nine Angles. Okay, There's a lot of different practitioners that have written books over the years that really delve deep into their own philosophical and spiritual pursuits. Okay, I believe that the term that would best suit this is a well-rounded education. Okay, sorry to go back to high school on you on that one, but if the shoe fits, wear it. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, I highly recommend Reverend Cain's books to you. He dubs them down, he keeps them in the most simplistic mannerism that you can find. Okay? And he doesn't get too in depth with them. Okay? He doesn't overthink it. He really simplifies it. So I do recommend it. I do recommend Alistair Notch to you. I do recommend the Order of the Nine Angles to you. And I do recommend Vocaglocus Aureax's book and that of Myrmidon Pontifex Maximus. Okay? All of these are good books. You can learn a lot from them and get a lot of enlightenment. All right? Have a good night. Until next time, I'm out.